Welcome back. Here we are with another video in the series for Photoshop for photographers, and in the little course we're doing here looking at basic adjustments. Now, one of the things that happens with your images at times is you get a bit of chromatic aberration. Let's have a look at what that's actually coming up with in this image here that actually displays a bit of that. So I'm going to use I've got a JPEG here as well as a camera raw file, and I'll use the camera raw file so that it's going to open up in Adobe Camera Raw. And in Adobe Camera Raw we do get some rather good methods of correcting. So let's see how we can do this. We're in the basic settings here. I want to zoom in and just show you where this problem is. So it's most apparent up here in this vent. This is the old TAFE building, by the way, on the corner of Alfred and Wood Streets. And if I zoom in on this area here on the vent at the very top of this building, and notice that was towards the extremity of the lens, so the edge of the image is not too far away. You can see a little bit more of that chromatic aberration there. So it's some, and again here in the gutters, but here it's probably most apparent because you're getting this purple color on the bottom of the vents and the green color on the top of the vents here. And the reason for this is that the light coming in through your lens, no matter how good your lens is not perfectly aligned when it comes in through the extremities of the lens. And so what we need to do is try and correct this to some extent. I'll just dial up the vibrance here. I'm in the basic settings here, and if I click on the vibrance and dial this up a little bit, it'll just exaggerate the chromatic aberration so we can really see what the problem is all about there. And then we'll go to our lens corrections. So I'm using the little icons up the top here of the right hand panel and go to lens corrections, and then I can go here to enable lens profile corrections, and it's recognizing what the lens is. It's picked it out of a whole bunch of lenses here, and I can then go to click on here to ask it to remove the chromatic aberration, and like magic you can see that it's actually done its job there. Even although I had the vibrance dialed up fairly high, it's pretty much corrected everything. So I'll just dial that vibrance back down again, and let's look at the whole image. I'll just put that back down to near enough 0, and I'll just go Control 0 and it'll fit that image in the window. And now I'll go back to that camera lens correction, and if I switch this off again, just watch the difference it makes to actually correcting the distortion of the lens. So you can see a fair bit of difference there when you click that checkbox on and off. Even although that's a fairly high-end lens, it still has a bit of distortion. One more interesting thing while we're in Camera Raw here is that we should just be aware of. I'll go back to the basic settings again, and you can see here that in the histogram here I can click on these little icons up the top, and it's going to show me where the highlight clipping is happening. Now what it'll do is I'll just zoom in again here, and up the top here on that vent, once again you can see there's a couple of red splotches there. So I'll just toggle that off again. So if I toggle it on, it's showing me where the information in the image is totally saturated. I'll just go Control 0 again to fit in the window, and on the other side here it shows me the clipping in the shadows where it's totally black with no information. And interestingly too here, if I work on the shadows here, if I dial this value up here, look how that information can be pulled back out of those leaves that are entirely in shadow. And you'd find, I believe, that you wouldn't get that same kind of control if you were working with a JPEG image, because the RAW file contains an awful lot more data than the JPEG image does. The JPEG has already been processed, and a lot of that data is lost. So when you keep your RAW files, you're going to have more data to work with and the ability to get a result that you might not have got had you already processed it into JPEG. So that's chromatic aberration, and that's how easy it is to fix it if you've got Adobe Camera Raw.